Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am doing a spoiler review for The Plague Dogs. Came out in 1982, stars John Hurt, Christopher Benjamin, James Bolam, Nigel Hawthorne, and was directed by Martin Rosen, the same guy who directed Watership Down, the 1978 film. The reason why I'm doing a spoiler review, so far away from when I originally reviewed this film, which, by the way, this is not going to be a review. I'm not going to rate it. I'm not going to talk about things I hated and didn't like. I'm just going to talk about things I couldn't just talk about in the review. Things of how I feel about this movie, basically more in depth. It kind of is a review. It's more of a spoiler review, meaning I'm going more spoiler-ish, but I'm still not going to rate it. I already gave it an A in my review. And plus, since I did buy the Blu-ray, it did come with the extended version, and I just watched it like yesterday, or 2 days ago. I think I'm going to, talk about the extended edition a bit too. All right, just to avoid me reviewing this movie 3 times, because I don't think that's necessary. All right, let's talk about certain things about the Plague Dogs that I couldn't talk about in my original spoiler-free review. One thing is how this movie... Now, this movie is based on a novel by Richard Adams, who wrote the book for Watership Down as well. This definitely feels like a Richard Adams movie. Like, some of the dialogue sounds exactly like the dialogue from Watership Down. I'm not even kidding. Which, fun fact, I'm actually currently reading that book. I rented it at my local library, and I'm reading it right now. It's really good so far. It's really good. After I finish it, I might actually do a video comparing the book, the Netflix remake, and the 1978 movie, and see which one is better. But that's not for a little while, since I haven't finished the book yet. Let's talk about Plague Dogs now. Let's talk a bit about John Hurt's character Snitter, the dog with the bandage on his head, fox terrier. He's probably my favorite character in the movie. He's definite one. I like how vulnerable he is. He's very kind of weak a bit. He constantly breaks out into seizures, and every time he does it, it makes me feel bad. Like, every time I watch it, oh geez, it's hard to watch sometimes. He keeps, oh boy, poor pupper, poor guy. This is seriously, every time he breaks out into a seizure, I just want to hug him. it's hard to watch, especially towards the ending of the movie, which is where you could definitely tell he's on the edge. And even though he is definitely the most optimistic one, he's definitely thinking that they could get a home after the events of this movie. Wasn't likely, since it wasn't really likely. And then there's Ralph, voiced excellently by Christopher Benjamin, which, fun fact, he was almost voiced by Jeremy Irons. I read that on the IMDb trivia. I thought that was very interesting. He's probably the bleakest character in the movie. I would argue he is the main character, because he's definitely seems the one they're focusing on the most. He definitely has the most screen time. He is... probably the bleakest character in this entire movie. I'm not even sure if he's even seen the outside throughout this movie, because they're suggesting that he was probably born inside this laboratory and is constantly being tested on via drowning. The white coats, as they're called, who are just scientists, are experimenting on him to see in a thing of water, and throughout the movie he has a fear of water throughout the film, and he's basically just kind of swimming around until he gives up for hours, because if he has instincts he'll survive, he will try to find a way to survive. But if he gives up, he'll just sink to the ground like a rock, which is what happens in the opening scene, in the very first scene of the movie. So yeah, instead of thinking this is going to be a light kids film, when you put on the first scene as a dog being intentionally drowned and then tortured. Yes, this is not a lighthearted film. All right, and then there's the Todd, James Bullen, who is a fox, and I cannot stretch enough how this is not the same one from You Know What. Sorry, someone is going off at back there. I don't know what's going on over there. Yeah, I really, his character in this movie is very complex. I can't really tell what his motivation is. Like, he keeps kind of ditching them at times. Like, he comes back, he ditches them, he comes back, ditches them again, eats eggs, Ralph gets ticked off, and then he leaves. Then he comes back again, then he dies. That's basically how his character is. He's not a pointless character. He does help them go hunting, and in the theatrical version, it's harder. In the theatrical version, it feels a lot more rushed, but in the extended version, you definitely actually could kind of feel he actually trained them, because there's a lot more scenes of them hunting in the extended version. Let's talk about the extended version for a bit. Is it any different than the other one? Not really. Even though it is like almost 30 minutes longer, it still is. It is definitely. Like, you can watch both versions just fine and you won't really miss any information. The only things that were added in the extended cut were extra shots of bloody sheep corpses and a dead man whose body was eaten by the dogs after they were starving in the snow. And then there is extra scenes of them hunting, time cards showing what day it is and how long they've been out. And then there are extra scenes of dialogue. One of them being in the beginning that Snitter has with this female dog, how they find out how they could break out of the laboratory. And then there's another one where you kind of get Ralph's feelings for the Todd, where he just downright despises him at first. And that's fairly it. There isn't much new things added in the extended edition, but I do recommend you watch the extended edition first. But too bad it only is available on the remastered version is only available on the Blu-ray, which I bought for like $20. And so yeah, if you ever want to see the extended version, that's basically the only way to see it. For all streaming services, it is the theatrical version, which is about 85 minutes, and the extended version is about an hour and 43 minutes. All right, let's. Oh, joy! There's my dog barking. Walter's barking. That's my dog that's been just barking all the time. Sorry, I thought someone called me because I'm alone in my room. Anyway, and apparently the IMDb says Patrick Stewart is in this movie. He's only credited as Major, which who knows what that means. He's probably one of the military guys, which when I was watching the movie again, I could definitely hear Patrick Stewart in there. It's a very minor role and very subtle, because I would not have caught that. All right, now let's talk about actual scenes in the movie. I talked about the characters a bit, now let's talk about actual scenes. Probably my favorite scene of the movie is, I don't know, I enjoy this movie throughout. I've seen it 3 times already. When I first watched it, I watched it on Prime again to kind of see if my opinion was right on it. Still was. It was better the second viewing, and then I watched the extended version. So it gets better every viewing. Every time I watch it, it sticks with me. It turns me into a depressed bum the whole time. And the reason why I just go on and on and on about this movie, why I reference it on my channel a lot, is because I feel this movie doesn't get the attention it deserves. It needs to be more well known. Because when I find a movie that's underrated, I want a lot of people to know it. And due to the fact that I think I have like 50 subscribers now, maybe even, I think I just hit 50, which thanks for that. My videos for some reason don't get much views, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm not doing this for the views. I'm doing this because I like doing it. The reason why I talk about this movie a lot is so it gets more recognition. All right, scenes. What's one scene? Easily the most iconic scene in this movie is the scene where the guy gets blown up with a shotgun, where he calls Snitter and then Snitter jumps on him, but his back leg hits the trigger and shoots the dude in the face. It's very sudden and very surprisingly pretty graphic for a PG-13 movie. Even though it isn't very explicit, it's still very bloody. Even though, fun fact, he's not actually holding blood, he's actually holding his ripped apart face, because if a shotgun at that close range hit your face, it would not just put a hole in it, it would blow it up. Trust me, I saw movies like Rambo Last Blood, and plus my dad is a gun expert, and he told me that, so... Joy. So yeah, that's the most iconic part of the movie. Probably easily my favorite parts of this movie are mostly just the scenes where Snitter and Ralph are talking. It's dialogue is exchanging. It's very interesting. Probably my favorite part of the actual movie is towards the ending where they're going to the shore, which easily every time they talk about the shore, my soul just crushes. Like, seriously, this movie's ending is powerful. It's for a few reasons. One, it is an homage to the beginning of the film with water, and then there's just, oh geez, in the extended version it's even bleaker. Oh geez, this movie just, it sticks with you. Like when you watch it, it never lets go. At least for me. My oldest brother doesn't like this movie because he said that's overtly depressing for no reason, yet he watches a lot of live action movies that are a lot more depressing than this movie. So yeah, that's about it for that segment of the video I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about something else. Do I have any like least favorite parts? I kind of feel like rewatching the movie, I kind of feel Todd's first reason for leaving was kind of pointless, since especially he just comes back, and I'm like, what was the point of him leaving just for him coming back? He could have just stayed. But anyway, I really like how the Fox is voiced, by the way. James Bolam voiced him, and I thought he added a lot of, personality to the character. All the voice actors are incredible. Well, with John Hurt, it isn't very surprising on why I would say he was incredible in this movie, because everything I've seen from John Hurt, he's been amazing in. But yeah, I've never heard. I don't think I've seen another movie from Christopher Benjamin, and this is probably. It's a great voice performance for this. I'm glad they went with him and not Jeremy Irons. Even though I like Jeremy Irons, he definitely has the gruff voice that matches the design of Ralph a lot better than Scar. So even if that is the same Jeremy Irons there I'm thinking of. Apparently Nigel Hawthorne is in this. He plays one of the doctors. Nigel Hawthorne, you might know him from The Madness of King George. He played King George III. He was actually nominated for an Oscar for that movie. And once again, most of the actual people that are more well known in this movie, their voice acting is very subtle. Easily, anyone who would kind of know who's in this movie is John Hurt. So, fun fact was not really fun fact, it's more common sense, was also in Watership Down. Interesting. Same director, same writer, same producer, same guy, same actor, and same author and studio. Huh. Interesting. So, anything else I could talk about? Alright, the ending. I could go on and on about the ending. Let's talk about the ending fully through. Alright, so it begins with the three on a hill. They're on a mountain. They are looking down on the shore. They go down there, and then the helicopters are sent out to look for them. So then the Todd goes and looks around, sees there's humans everywhere. Says they need to basically kind of calm themselves, what do you call it? Kind of need to stay low, be stealthy, stay frosty, basically, because if one human sees them, they're dead. Which best thing about this movie is that it always has a feeling of dread and always has a feeling that they're going to be caught and killed at any moment. It's a perfect setup. And then throughout this whole scene, this is probably the most intense scene of the movie. Todd's trying to distract all the guards and all the military people and their guard dogs, and while Ralph and Snitter go on a train to the shore, to the ocean, which where they're supposed to meet Todd. But while this is happening, Todd is injured. He's starting off strong. He's fooling the guard dogs. He's fooling the hunting dogs, but it kind of fails and backfires when he is bitten on the thigh by one and hurts him really badly. And then he gets cornered. He jumps over a stone wall, and then the dogs kill him. And kind of a horrific scene because it happens so quickly. You don't see it, but you definitely know he was killed because you see them holding his dead corpse. The Fox and the Hound alternate ending, was a lot more brutal than I remembered. But anyway, so then Ralph and Snitter make it to the shore. The military find them, go to kill them. But then Snitter claims he sees an island, which throughout this entire movie, Snitter has had visions and schizophrenia. Yeah, this dog has some major brain damage. After he was blamed for killing his owner, after he was in the road, the owner ran out, flicked him out of the way, and he was hit by a car and had his head cracked open, and he died. Which, I will admit this, blaming the dog on the owner's death is a little far-fetched. Just how they blamed the dogs for killing the man with the shotgun. I know they gave him a name. I forgot his name, though. That was a little far-fetched. Because I don't think the dog would have done that purposefully. And they kind of blame it on the dogs. And even though, yes, they do explain he had muddy footprints on it, that just could have been anything. Yeah, that's a little far-fetched. But anyway, Snitter throughout this movie has had visions and slight schizophrenia. He's been going on about smoke in his head and buzzes in his head flying. And then he's even had visions of rocks coming to life and attacking him. Or like kind of making gestures at him that are kind of frightening. It's about, and then so you clearly could tell he's just seeing things. So he runs off into the water, and then Ralph runs into the water with him. As the people are shooting, they have like stormtrooper aim, the soldiers, and they don't hit the dogs. They go into the water, into fog, and the military loses them. The movie ends with basically them just still swimming. Snitter is basically saying he's giving up, but then Ralph says he sees the island. Says that tells in the theatrical version he was just silent as they were going into the fog and the movie's main song comes on. But in the extended edition, he basically starts saying like I'm here with you, stay with me, we're gonna get there. And then as soon as the credits roll, the song starts. Oh boy, very intense ending because it leads up. It kind of basically says that they most likely died. And apparently in the book, which I have not read, but people told me this, in the book, a fisherman found the dogs and brung them to safety, and Snitter's owner's still alive. Apparently that was not the original ending, but the author, Richard Adams, was forced to change it because people said the ending was too depressing. Glad Martin Rosen decided to stick with the original ending with this one. So the ending is probably one of the most devastating endings I've ever had to sit through. It ruined me for like a week. When I first saw this movie really stuck with me. Even though, yes, there are the obvious messages against animal abuse, which I am highly supportive of. I love dogs. And so, yeah, the ending really hit me to the core, even though literally no one else and my other brothers have seen the movie. They didn't like it either. At least Caleb, my older brother didn't like it. My youngest brother thinks it's okay. I love this one. I ranked it at number 2 on favorite animated movies, even though I talk about it a lot. Kind of a lot. I talk about it way more than Loving Vincent, which is my number 1 for some reason. Huh. Interesting. But yeah, this is a amazing animated movie. I love this one. Oh boy, it's so I think it's very, very good. Is that all the spoilers I'll talk about? Is that all the spoilers? Is it? I mean, as a film itself, I think it holds up. I haven't seen the, I haven't read the book. I want to though, but I haven't read the book, so I don't know how accurate it is. So yeah, so that's my spoiler review. If you've seen this movie, please tell me what you thought of it. And if you like this review, please give it a like. And if you really just aren't all right. And then another thing, if you do want to see the extended cut, I highly suggest you do, even though you can watch the theatrical version and just not really miss much. Go right ahead. Just watch any version you can. And I will see you all next time.